Well, nice to meet you, Jess. Collabosaurus, tell us, how long has it been in operation and how did you come up with the idea?
Well, Collabosaurus has been going 3 years now, and it came up with the idea because I was working in PR, and after PR I was working in small business marketing education actually, and I kind of saw on both sides with the big business and the small business so many opportunities getting missed in terms of great collaborations and partnerships. From the PR side, we were pulling together media launch events for our fashion clients. There were bloggers and media in the room and journalists. And it was just such a scramble pulling together things like goodie bag inclusions and venue spaces and caterers and photographers, and it was just everyone was relying on their own networks and there was no way to streamline it. And then when I spoke to a lot of small businesses, I found that they weren't doing partnerships and collaborations because they'd been burnt before, or because they had sent stuff out and just weren't getting any replies or were getting rejected. So Tinder was becoming popular, and I thought, oh my gosh, how amazing would it be to have like a Tinder style app where you could swipe through potential brand collaborations, and that is how it started.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you really saw a need in the marketplace, and then from there the idea came and that's rolled out. Were there any initial hesitations or obstacles that you had to overcome?
Oh, so many. Yeah, so many. Oh, look, I think I was 22 when I registered the business and got it started, and so I think I was naive in a way that it was quite good that I was naive, and I kind of jumped into stuff and just got stuff done. But in terms of obstacles, look, I think with the first prototype of Collabosaurus, it was for publicists. I built it as a platform for publicists. And then, of course, all the publicists that I'd spoken to that were like, yes, this is what we need, they weren't the first early adopters because we didn't have case studies, we didn't have a user base yet, we were so early. And because it works just like a dating site, there has to be, just like on a dating site, people on the site for you to connect with, otherwise the experience isn't very good. So yeah, look, an obstacle really, we hit a big hurdle when we realised that the target market we were trying to get in front of weren't the ones that were using the platform. Yes. So we had to, all that money that we'd spent on that original website, we kind of had to redo it and rethink it, and so that it spoke to the startup small business community a lot more. And now we're in 5 countries and have 3,300 clients, and big and small. There's publicity agencies, marketing agencies, airlines and hotel chains. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I think word of mouth has certainly now picked up the ball and is rolling for you. Initially, did you then go out and have conversations with the clients to get on board?
Yeah, lots. I think I chose wrong at the beginning though, and I was having conversations with publicists only because that's who in my head was going to be the client, and I should have had more conversations with startups and small businesses. But as the platform launched and we saw the startups and small businesses hopping on board early, then I immediately started having conversations with those guys and asking, why was it that we appealed to them and all of that, and then we were able to change our messaging appropriately.
Fantastic. I think for small businesses, we need to measure and monitor, don't we? And if we don't see something working well, okay, we need to shift and do it quickly. Otherwise, a lot of money, as you know, can be spent. What would you say then has been, obviously you've got many insights, but for businesses who are starting up and perhaps going through some similar challenges as you, what has been one insight that you've really learned along the way that has catapulted you now to this growth which you've experienced?
Well, other than collaborations are the best thing you can do for your business, I think something that I did at the beginning was, I poured over little details that really in the long run didn't matter. I wanted to make everything perfect, from, the logo to our Instagram and the website. And really, as the business has grown, it's only been allowed to grow because we've been able to be agile and, change quickly. And, people always talk about failing fast, and it's so true. Like, you have to fail. Expect to fail. Yes. Expect that the first couple of years is going to be hard and with a lot of curveballs and learnings, but it's all good. It's what it's all about, and everyone goes through it. No big success story has come from an instant overnight success. Definitely not.
And you're obviously in a business which is very new, so you don't have anyone that's gone before that you can say, what have they done, shift and change? Were there some role models though in business that you really kind of monitored to see what are they doing and how can I implement in my business?
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so many, and I seem to be accumulating more and more role models now that I'm networking more, I suppose. I'm at events like this, and there's people that have popped up around the same time as me, or maybe a year or two before me, that have really gone big, and they're a couple of steps ahead of me. People like, Taryn Williams, who's here tonight. She's amazing, and I look up to her so much. But there's so many people just like that who are a couple years ahead.
Yeah, one of the things I know that Waterman's is very clear on their values and very clear on stating those, because the people that they attract and that they do collaborations with is very important to have aligned values.
Yeah.
Is that important for Collabosaurus as well?
Huge, yeah. Partnerships, it comes down to so many different things as to what makes them successful, but a couple of really key things is values have to be aligned, target market should be aligned, because then, if you have similar audiences, that any cross-promotion is going to be really valuable. And also the other thing is making sure that it's a mutually beneficial exchange, both parties are benefiting and it's win-win.
Win-win. I know also too, Waterman is very committed to seeing the success of their clients. Similarly, I would imagine that Collabosaurus, you've got incredible case studies.
Yeah.
What has been one of the most favourite case studies that you've developed through them collaborating through Collabosaurus?
Oh my gosh. Look, I have this emotional connection with one of the early ones. We did a collaboration with Topshop and a local patisserie called the Dessert Parlour. And that was the first one that really happened where a big brand partnered up with a startup. And I just loved seeing that, because that was one of the biggest goals that we had. Yeah. And yeah. Do you want me to tell you about how it happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's how that
time
happened. It's exciting. Because obviously they used the platform, but there was a common need or something there.
So Topshop are running a student event in Melbourne for 500 students, and their catering partner dropped out last minute. So they hopped on Collabosaurus, and they were matched up with this boutique patisserie in Melbourne who was looking for exposure. And pretty much the Dessert Parlour, which was the patisserie, made, I think it was like 1,500 beautiful Instagram-worthy donuts for the event, and for free. And then Topshop were able to give the Dessert Parlour exposure to 33,000 people on their email list, 300,000 people on their socials, and then the 500 students in the room where it was fully credited. So that exposure was super valuable. And then Topshop saved like $2,500 worth of catering. So
it's incredible. I know in Australia particularly, collaborating is something that's really quite new and unique.
Yeah.
Businesses are really winning when they're leveraging their expertise and partnering. Why? Let's speak a little bit into why there's so much power in collaborating.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty excited in that we've recently done a whole lot of research around the digital advertising space. So we can see, we can quantify the value of collaboration now, whereas before I think collaboration was kind of seen as a networking nice to have, but not a necessary thing that you have to do as part of your marketing plan. So we've been able to average out the cost of 10,000 impressions across Facebook ads, Google AdWords, influencer marketing, banner ads, and all of that kind of stuff. And we've basically worked out that it's about 30 times, on average, 30 times less expensive to collaborate for marketing purposes than spending on ads. So yeah, the value is absolutely huge. Yes. And what's great is that, partnerships and collaboration marketing really has been around forever. I just feel like it hasn't been, streamlined in a way that it's really easy to go about, where you can do it consistently in your business as a way to grow.
And you've of course built the platform now,
exactly.
where the two partners can then go and seek each other out and find. So what you've done as a business, you've measured and monitored, and you can use those case studies now to build your business.
I can.
So now, what's in store for collaboration? What's the next thing that you're working on?
Well, the next thing we're working on, we'll be launching in a couple of weeks actually. And it basically allows us to compete seriously in the digital advertising space, because as I mentioned, you can quantify it now, whereas before it was kind of, Collabosaurus works just like a dating site. So it's just like setting up a profile, and then you'd be matched up with complementary brands with similar target markets. And it kind of, you could see the value, but not in a quantifiable sense. So with our new website, which is what we're raising capital for at the moment, so I'm in investment meetings and hustling my way through that. But as soon as that launches, we have a way to show a brand what they're going to get out of a collaboration in numbers.
Yeah,
we can
which
show.
is important, isn't it? For any
Exactly.
business that's talking to potential clients.
Exactly, yeah.
It can be very difficult, can't it, working in your own business? What motivates you?
Oh, look, so many different things, but I think I'm an extrovert, so I really like being around people. They say extroverts draw energy and stuff from other people, and I find, coming to events and meeting new people and collaborating and stuff really gives me energy and motivation to move forward. I also have an incredible business partner who kicks me up the bum. Yes. It's great.
And so it's very important, I think, as businesses to really recognise what motivates them, but also have an accountability partner. For you, it is your business partner.
Yes.
What would you say are some things that you see businesses are not aware of, but they really need to have in place if they want to continue to see growth in their business?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
Maybe some things that you've seen along the way that you may have implemented, but you see that other businesses don't necessarily do that.
Look, I see a lot of brands that are emerging now that are putting all their eggs in one basket. So something like, Instagram, they're putting all their eggs into that basket and they're banking on that going really well, and growing followers is their main agenda. When really building a business is about building out multiple channels that you have ownership over and that you can build a real community around. So Instagram's great, but we don't have ownership over Instagram, and Instagram, just like Facebook, can change and chop with their algorithms, and it means that one day you could be speaking to your entire community every day, and the next day you could be speaking to 10% of them, unless you're paying for it. So I think it's really important to be building out things like an email list, or a resource library or blog that people seek out, and you kind of have more ownership over than social media channels. Yeah.
Has there been one piece of advice that you've been given through the years that have really supported you?
Yeah, look, I can't remember the quote, but it basically comes down to, anything that you want is entirely up to you. I think a lot of people I have found, if they run into trouble or if things don't go their way, it can be easy to put blame on other things and other people, when really, true entrepreneurs and stuff, and the people that I look up to, I really have just taken it by the reins and gone, this is up to me and I will fix it and I will make it happen. And, it can be quite lonely in business, which I think is very true for a lot of small businesses, which is why building a network is so valuable. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make the business work and make your dreams happen, and that's really important.
And you did mention that you're now in 5 countries?
Yes.
So how did you go to international? How did you start to export?
Collaboration, honestly. Yeah, we actually have never advertised overseas at all. It's been quite organic, but it's been organic by the way of we've strategically done some collaborations with brands that have communities in the UK and US and Canada.
Yeah, fantastic. And I know for some businesses they're quite hesitant to ask, and obviously in collaborating, if you see an idea, you need to reach out and ask.
Yeah.
Obviously being an extrovert, that may have been a skill that you've had. What would you say to people that might be a bit apprehensive in case the answer's no?
Okay. That's such a common problem with startups and small businesses. I mean, that's one of the reasons we built Collabosaurus, so that it's easier, it's all anonymous until both brands see it's a good opportunity, so it's a lot easier to put yourself out there. But my advice would be, instead of know what you want, but don't lead with that. I think a lot of small businesses get caught up in the excitement of the idea, and they really want to reach out, but it's nerve-wracking. And so when they do reach out, it's like trying to marry a brand on the first date, when really it should be about getting the first date, So, and the way to do that in a business sense is to lead with the benefits to them. Really upfront showcase the benefits to that brand that they could have by working with you. And then, you can build a relationship around that, rather than going, here's what I want and here's who I am and here's what I do and here's why I love you so much. Yeah.
So if people wanted to find out more about Collabosaurus, how would they do that?
Instagram I love, so at Collabosaurus we're there, or you can go to collabosaurus.com and it's free to sign up.
Fantastic.